What's up? So I've been seeing some videos recently on the Bezos wedding, the $50 million wedding. um Excuse me, I'm a little sick right now. But I've been seeing videos on this $50 million Bezos wedding. And like climate things about it as well. People basically in the area that he was in were basically protesting it, calling it like a disaster. And so I just want to give a little funny take, I think, on this. What I think is hilarious is the fact that first of all, the vows were hilarious. Like, funny. I don't know. I wish there was more video of this, or like there was something that you could just watch it, because from what I know and what I saw, he rapped it, and that is hilarious to me. just homies like, yeah, I take her. And he just starts rapping his vows, and that's hilarious to me in and of itself, because like, it's one thing to have vows planned out that you say, right, which is sweet, because not a lot of people, I would think, at weddings typically write their own vows, mostly because it takes skill to be able to write anything, let alone vows. And so it's one thing to write your own vows, it's another to rap them. And then I think another funny part, and it's actually kind of fucked up, but it's also collectively hilarious, is how much money was collectively at this wedding alone. Like, this wedding was, in total, with everyone who was there, I think a $500 million wedding, because you had Jeff Bezos, who is worth like 200 something billion dollars. I don't know. The richest man alive currently is still Elon Musk. He's 340 billion. He was at 500 billion at one point. Now he's at 340, which is insane. But we have the collective amount of people who were there, which it caused to be almost a $500 million wedding. You have Bezos, who's worth like 230. His wife, who I don't know how much she's worth, she's a journalist or something, so probably only worth like 10 million at that. But then you got another few billionaires. I don't know who it was. It might have been Adam Sandler who was there. I don't really know, but like I said, it was collective and it was big. But I can understand why people would be reasonably pissed, because the people of that area were, number one, those people in that area have been through a lot. Like, they've been going through a lot, and they were pissed at like they called it a climate disaster. They said that Bezos and all them, those people, they didn't care. And I mean, they're billionaires, so what do you expect? Do you really believe they're gonna care in the first place? Probably not, you know. But it's really a matter of, I would think, a matter of understanding to some extent, because you have one side of this who, like, they believe that this dude, he's such a terrible human being, you know, he's a billionaire, he doesn't care about anyone but himself, and making his own money, he shouldn't be allowed to have his wedding here and do all this. And there's Bezos, who, bro, just wanted to wrap his vows and marry a supermodel journalist. And can you really blame him? I mean, yeah. But it's kind of funny. And then you also have just like the offside part of this, which is my position, which is just laughing at both ends of this. You have me, where I'm like, you know, it's pretty funny that you got people who sit in traffic lanes and cry about the climate, and then you also have a multi-billionaire who couldn't relate to struggle, period, in his life ever, other than maybe before he was a billionaire, wrapping his vows in a significant signal towards the hip-hop community, where he's trying to make like a statement about struggle or something. And I don't know, I think the fact that he chose that venue to do that is hilarious. It's his second marriage. It's also to be noted, he's worth 240 billion. He was upped over 100 billion, which only comes after his first divorce. Right, in his first divorce, he obviously gave like 40 billion or something like that, or 70 billion, whatever it was, to his ex-wife, and like she became the second richest woman, or the number one richest woman on the planet overnight, something like that, one of those. And then he went from like the richest guy in the world to like the third or the fourth richest guy in the world, and she was upped, and it was the first ever time in history that I think anyone in the public eye, specifically someone of just our being, meaning the collective society, the group at hand, the people who are not ultra rich elite, just everyday people, me, you, everyone watching this, unless you're a billionaire watching this video for some reason, which I think would be fucking hilarious. If you are, that's pretty funny actually. But just the collective, me and you, and everyone else who's just on a normal societal basis, who looks at billionaires and is like, you know, they probably are not good people, period. You know, they're just not good people, because there's usually no ethical way to become a billionaire. But from what we've seen, the most ethical way to become a billionaire, from what we've seen, is to get married and then divorce one. You know, that's kind of how it is. And you know, it's just, I think it's funny because this lady was never really worth much, I don't think. His ex-wife, his first wife, I don't think she was worth much. I don't know if she was there in the beginning when he built. I can't remember what year they got married and divorced. I think they got divorced in the last 2 years, if I remember correctly, but I think they got married after he built the billion-dollar company. So he becomes a multi-billionaire, then they marry. She didn't build any of it. She didn't help stock the billions. She didn't help build a company. She finessed bro pretty fast though. Like, she robbed homie pretty quick. That motherfucker got finessed so fast. I think their marriage only lasted like 10, 15 years. I couldn't tell you. I could have looked up specifics before I made this video, but I'm kind of shooting from the hip like I always do. I like to make these kind of videos comedic a little bit for you guys, which means I gotta shoot from the hip sometimes rather than looking up just facts, because I feel like facts only goes so far when I'm writing a comedic bit, you know? Whatever. So you have this lady who, she's a supermodel, and she's at this wedding. Now it's a $50 million wedding. He's rapping his vows. She's like, nah, homie, and it's valid. But they walk off, they're married, they're good. And then the backlash ensues. And I think the funniest part of the whole, not the wedding, I think the funniest part of the backlash of the wedding, the people being like, oh, this is so awful, which, if your takeaway from the wedding is this is so awful, I think that's an overreaction, unless you're talking about the part that he did, because that part was pretty awful. But if you're just talking about the wedding in general, that's an overreaction. I think the funniest part of the backlash, though, without a doubt, hands down, has to be the people who are legitimately making the case for Bezos winning the public over. And what I mean by that is, obviously when he got divorced in the first place, right, it was pretty clear who won in the public's eye. It was his ex-wife. But now you have this new wedding where one side of it is like, go bro, and then the other side of it is like, nah homie. And this dude is just kind of chilling in the middle, doing his own thing, and he's just sitting there like, nah, but I'm gonna rap my vows, dog. Like, and so now we have to witness that. And then the backlash of that, which was hilarious, was basically people saying, what's common sense though? You shouldn't be able to do that. Like, we thought that was off limits. Like, maybe if you're like Jay-Z, or if you're like, I don't know, anyone else, then you can rap your vows. But when you're not them, when you're Jeff Bezos and you run Amazon for a living, you shouldn't be doing that. That's funny. That's hilarious, actually. Yeah, that's pretty fucking funny. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on this whole situation. I'm still laughing about it now. Like, that's funny as fuck to me. You have this man over here who, like, he's a multi-billionaire and doesn't really give a fuck. He's gonna say what he wants. And you got these people in the back like, you can't do this here. Why? This is against the climate. And it's just funny to me. But yeah. So, that's my video, y'all. I will see you again soon. Peace out.